For decades, the geopolitical chessboard of the Pacific was built on a single, unwavering assumption that China's strategy for seizing Taiwan could proceed with a secure rear because Japan, bound by its pacifist doctrine of passive defense, would never interfere. Beijing was certain their northern flank was safe, but they are now experiencing what some call history's greatest strategic blindness. In March 2026, Japan effectively set fire to the defense doctrine that had shackled it for decades, replacing it with a strategy of integrated deterrence that seeks to reduce threats at their source before they even leave Beijing. This steel ring being woven across the Pacific is fundamentally altering the balance of naval power in East Asia. The first bold step in this transformation occurred in late March 2026, when Tokyo deployed upgraded Type 12 missiles to Kyushu. These are not just standard military shipments. These missiles possess a 1,000-kilometer range, granting Japan the ability to strike the Chinese mainland. For the first time in decades, this range puts the eastern coastal naval bases in Shanghai and military airfields in Fujian directly in the crosshairs, meaning Chinese troop carriers could be targeted or stopped before they even leave port. While the skies are being patrolled by missiles, the underside of the ocean is turning into a silent killing zone. On March 10, 2026, the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force officially commissioned the JS Choge, a 3,000-ton steel beast and the fifth of 8 planned Taige-class submarines, known as the Great Whale. This hunter uses advanced lithium-ion batteries and diesel-electric motors that leave almost no acoustic trace, making it virtually invisible to Chinese radar and sonar. These submarines are specifically designed to lie in wait at critical choke points, like the Mako Strait and the Bashi Channel, narrow passages that the Chinese Navy must use to enter the deep Pacific. Any attempt by China to blockade Taiwan would now require their fleet to pass through these killing zones, where heavy torpedoes could emerge from the darkness at any moment. Japan is also turning remote islands into impregnable fortresses. To close the surveillance gap, the historic island of Iwo Jima is being transformed into a massive floating defense line with extended runways and reinforced docks to support massive logistics ships. Because existing bases in Okinawa and Kyushu are highly vulnerable to Chinese cruise missiles, Iwo Jima provides an operational depth that is out of easy reach, allowing Japanese fighter jets to respond to threats from a safer distance. Closer to the front lines on Yonaguni Island, located just 110 kilometers off the coast of Taiwan, Japan is deploying Type 03 Chusam surface-to-air missiles. These systems can track hundreds of aircraft and ballistic missiles simultaneously, effectively shattering Beijing's dreams of an easy blockade of the Taiwan Strait. Japan is also turning remote islands into impregnable fortresses. To close the surveillance gap, the historic island of Iwo Jima is being transformed into a massive floating defense line with extended runways and reinforced docks to support massive logistics ships. Because existing bases in Okinawa and Kyushu are highly vulnerable to Chinese cruise missiles, Iwo Jima provides an operational depth that is out of easy reach, allowing Japanese fighter jets to respond to threats from a safer distance. Closer to the front lines on Yonaguni Island, located just 110 kilometers off the coast of Taiwan, Japan is deploying Type 03 Chusam surface-to-air missiles. These systems can track hundreds of aircraft and ballistic missiles simultaneously, effectively shattering Beijing's dreams of an easy blockade of the Taiwan Strait. Technological revolutions are further reinforcing this steel wall, most notably with the sea trials of a 100 kilowatt high-energy ship-based laser system on the JS Asuka. This system is designed to neutralize thousands of Chinese kamikaze drones with nearly zero cost per shot, potentially rendering large-scale drone swarms ineffective. Japan is aware it must outpace China's military speed, budgeting billions for hypersonic weapons and Tomahawk cruise missiles while forging unprecedented defense partnerships with the Philippines, Vietnam, and Indonesia. The military tension reached a boiling point on March 7, 2026, when a major geopolitical earthquake struck the political stage. Taiwanese Prime Minister Cho Tai landed in Tokyo, while officially framed as a private trip to watch a World Baseball Classic game. It was the first visit by a Taiwanese leader to Japan since Beijing viewed this as an open declaration of war and a sly provocation toward independence. In a midnight protest, Chinese Vice Foreign Minister Sun Dong summoned the Japanese ambassador, and Beijing quickly imposed economic sanctions, adding 20 Japanese organizations to an export control list. This conflict is unfolding against a backdrop of global instability that has forced Japan to make surprising moves at the diplomatic table, with the Strait of Hormuz closed due to conflicts in the Middle East involving the US, Israel, and Iran. 20% of global energy logistics have been cut off. This has pushed Tokyo to pivot toward Russian oil, specifically the Sakhalin-2 project, to ensure its energy security. Interestingly, reports suggest that Chinese-made defense systems, like the HQ-9B, have recently failed in Middle East conflicts against US and Israeli jets, casting a shadow of doubt over the supposed invincibility of China's military hardware. As China continues to prepare for future chaos with the world's largest army and a massive air force of over 3,000 aircraft, the window for an unchallenged maneuver is narrowing. The Pentagon predicts China will reach full amphibious capacity by 2027, but the steel ring Japan is building, from Kyushu missiles to Yonaguni radars, is already altering Beijing's strategic calculations. All eyes are now on an anticipated summit between Donald Trump and Xi Jinping in late March or early April 2026, where Trump is expected to pressure Xi to abandon his hardline stance on Taiwan. Ultimately, the Pacific balance is in a state of flux. Japan's shift from passive defense to counterstrike capability represents a fundamental realignment of power in the Indo-Pacific. China's Navy, once confident in its secure rear, now faces threats from the front, rear, and flanks. Whether this leads to a managed competition or a sharper confrontation depends on how Beijing assesses this new reality. A Japan that is no longer waiting at its borders, but is ready to meet the threat at its source.